Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today, we're going to explore a deeply emotional story about family, forgiveness, and the quiet moments that can change an entire life. In parts 1 and 2, you'll witness painful truths coming to light, heartbreaking regrets, and at the same time, the birth of a new home built on love, trust, and responsibility. From long-buried misunderstandings to a child's simple yet powerful word, this story reminds us that happiness is fragile, but also incredibly precious. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Now, let's begin. Dear friends, there are moments in life that seem so small, almost unnoticeable, yet they quietly hold the power to change an entire destiny. In a modest little house, a man wakes up early without a word, preparing breakfast while the world is still asleep. Somewhere nearby, a child speaks the word "Papa" for the very first time. And in that fragile instant, a family begins to believe that maybe, just maybe, happiness has finally found its way to them. But my friends, peace is sometimes nothing more than a brief pause before a storm. Just when someone is learning how to become a real father. Just when Huyen begins to believe that she and Maya have finally found a true home. The truth that has been buried for years starts to rise to the surface. Mr. Quan, a father who once judged too quickly, who scolded without truly understanding, is about to face the greatest regret of his life. And Mrs. Joah, the woman who always believed she was right, slowly begins to crumble when she realizes that her manipulation and cruelty are exactly what pushed Huyen and Maya into a cycle of pain with no escape. A child's voice calls out, "Papa?" in a small, warm house somewhere else. But in this house, there are raised voices, tears, and a truth that can no longer stay hidden. Will Mrs. Joah cling desperately to what she believes is hers? Or will she continue causing harm? And will the fragile peace that Huyen and Maya have just found truly last? If you feel the rhythm of this story, don't forget to like the video to support the channel, and leave a comment below telling me whether you think this family's happiness can survive the storms of the past. Thank you for listening. And now, let's begin. Mr. Quan stepped out of the prison after nightfall. The yellow streetlights stretched across the long, empty road, but the cold he felt inside his chest was far deeper than the chill in the air. Tuke's words echoed endlessly in his mind, refusing to fade. Huyen isn't wrong. Maya isn't to blame. It's all Mom's fault. He heard those words again and again, each time cutting deeper, tightening his chest until breathing felt difficult. His hands clenched the steering wheel as he drove home, veins standing out along his arms. The man who once trusted his own judgment without question now felt only a violent mix of anger and regret boiling inside him. The car stopped in front of the house. Without hesitation, Mr. Quan got out and shoved the door open. It slammed against the wall with a sharp bang, tearing through the silence of the familiar space. Mrs. Joah was sitting at the table, a cup of tea steaming gently in front of her. Startled by the noise, she looked up. Mr. Quan walked in. His face was dark, his eyes bloodshot. He didn't take off his coat. He didn't sit down. He stood there, stiff and unmoving, like a block of stone. "Madam," he said, his voice low but heavy, "tell me the truth. Right now." Mrs. Joah frowned, slammed her teacup onto the table, and stood up. "What's wrong with you?" she snapped. "Why are you yelling at me? I have nothing to say." Those words only fueled the fire inside him. Mr. Quan stepped forward and slammed his hand down on the table. making everything shake. Nothing to say? He repeated bitterly. Took already said everything, Mrs. Joah. She froze, her face drained of color for just a split second before she forced herself to speak. He's lying, she shot back. He's in prison, and you believe him? Mr. Huyen moved closer and grabbed her wrist. His grip shook, not with strength, but with rage and pain. Lying? His voice hardened. He told me everything. How you treated Huyen. How you forced her to leave. How you made her and Maya's lives unbearable. Mrs. Joah tried to pull away, but panic flickered in her eyes. I did it for this family, she cried. Everything I did was for us. He let go of her wrist and stepped back. The fire in his eyes faded, replaced by something far heavier, sorrow. For family, he repeated quietly. A family that allowed an innocent daughter-in-law to be humiliated. A family that hurt an innocent child. He raised his hands to his face. His shoulders trembled as his voice broke. I blamed Huyen unfairly. I trusted you. I let her suffer, and I never defended her. Silence filled the room. All of Huyen's pain is because of you, he continued, his voice shattered. And because of me, I was blind. Mrs. Joah stood frozen. Her lips trembled, but no words came. The pride she always wore like armor slowly dissolved, leaving only fear behind. What are you going to do? She asked weakly. Mr. Quan lowered his hands and looked at her. There was no anger left in his eyes, only cold disappointment. I'm going to find Huyen, he said. I'll apologize, to her and to Maya, even if it's late. He turned and walked out. The door closed behind him, leaving Mrs. Joah standing alone in the middle of a house that suddenly felt unbearably empty. Outside, the wind picked up. Dark clouds gathered in the sky, as if warning of an approaching storm. Inside the house, there was nowhere left to hide the truth, only consequences. The sound of the lock echoed long after the door shut. Mrs. Joah remained frozen. Minutes passed, but her mind couldn't catch up to what had just happened. The tea in her cup had gone cold. The steam had vanished, just like the sense of control and security she had always believed she had. Mr. Huyen, she murmured softly. No answer. She rushed to the door and pulled it open. The garden was empty. The car was gone. For the first time, fear truly settled in her bones. She staggered back into the living room, her steps unsteady, and collapsed into a chair. Her breathing was heavy, as if she had just run a long distance. No, it's not over, she whispered. There's still time. She tried to comfort herself. Mr. Huyen always calmed down. He always came back. But something was different this time. She remembered his eyes as he left, not angry, but hollow. That look froze her heart. With shaking hands, she grabbed her phone. She dialed, then hung up, then dialed again, her fingers slipping over the screen. Mr. Huyen, she whispered as the phone rang endlessly. No answer. The phone slipped from her hand and hit the floor with a dull thud. She laughed nervously, a short, broken sound. It's nothing. He's just angry. But she didn't believe it. She walked to the dresser and pulled open a drawer, taking out old papers, photos, memories from a time when she believed she controlled everything. A family photo slipped from her hand and fell to the floor. She bent down to pick it up. In the picture, she stood beside Mr. Quan. Tuc was behind them, and a little farther back was Huyen, head slightly bowed, her expression gentle and quiet. Mrs. Joah stared at the photo for a long time. That girl, she murmured, Her voice faded. For the first time, she realized the truth. The person she had always underestimated was not the one who destroyed this family. The destruction came from herself. Her strength drained away. She slid down to the floor, clutching her chest. "If he leaves me," she whispered. "If he really goes after Huyen?" Tears fell, not from anger, but from fear and despair. The house remained silent. And for the first time in her life, Mrs. Joah understood what it truly felt like to be left behind. This story follows a family standing at the edge of truth, regret, and rebirth. As long-hidden misunderstandings come to light, Mr. Quan is forced to confront the painful consequences of his past judgments, while Mrs. Joah faces the collapse of the control she once believed she had. At the same time, in a small and quiet house elsewhere, Huyen and Maya begin a new chapter, one built not on blood, but on love, patience, and responsibility. A simple word spoken by a child, "Dad," becomes the turning point that reshapes an entire life. Yet just as peace finally settles in, the past begins to stir. Apologies are coming, unresolved emotions remain, and choices made too late may still change everything. Will forgiveness truly heal these wounds? Or will the shadows of the past return to test this fragile happiness?